And I thought Selma came out of nowhere and just was going to dominate award season. This movie, though. Anyway, guys, hey there, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Guys, I'm going to be reviewing in this video a brand new dramatic war film biopic, if I said that right. And the movie I'm going to be reviewing in this video is a movie a lot of people aren't too thrilled with right now because of recent Oscar nominations. Nevertheless, in this video I am going to be reviewing American Sniper. That's right, guys, American Sniper, starring Bradley Cooper, directed by Clint Eastwood, who has kind of had an off year. He actually had 2 films directed this year. He did Jersey Boys in the summer, and just recently directed American Sniper, released it just at the, literally the last possible second to release a film in order to get Oscar consideration. That's when he released American Sniper, and it paid off because it got nominated for a bunch of stuff. Now, I'm not here to discuss this film's Oscar nominations. I'm here to review American Sniper as a film, and although that this movie is surrounded by a bunch of controversy regarding the man that they are depicting in the film and regarding just the war in general, I am not going to really get into that either. I will mention that stuff because of what some people are saying that's really starting to disgust me as a human being. But I want to actually just talk about the film as the film. But yes, American Sniper, I finally got a chance to see it, even though it came out Christmas Day in extremely limited release. It's got a bunch of Oscar nominations now: Best Picture, Best Actor, Bradley Cooper, Best Screenplay, amongst others, and 5 nominations to be exact. And now we have this great new war film from Clint Eastwood, who apart from Jersey Boys, his last film, the one he starred in, was Trouble with the Curve. But anyway, getting into American Sniper. American Sniper tells the true account of U.S. Navy SEAL member Chris Kyle, played by Bradley Cooper in the movie. And Chris Kyle is credited with being the most lethal sniper in United States military history. He has apparently gotten the most confirmed kills. He's gotten like somewhere near like 160 confirmed kills. Those are only his confirmed kills. You don't know about how many other people he may have killed, and you can get the log or whatever. But yeah, that's a lot, guys. Nearly 200 confirmed kills. That's a lot of people this man has murdered. But you can argue the fact that he was doing it for what he felt were the right reasons and what everybody should feel are the right reasons. But nevertheless, I'm not here to get into what the controversy is. But Chris Kyle, again, this movie basically is an account of his life, how he grew. It shows how he grew up, how he trained as a Navy SEAL. It shows and depicts his tours of duty and service in Iraq. And it also shows a lot of his family life and his relationship that is slowly getting strained because of this war. His relationship with his wife, I forget her name, Taya, I think her name is, played by Sienna Miller in the film. And that, my friends, is the story behind American Sniper. Now, the film is based off of the autobiography of Chris Kyle's life. That was, obviously, it's an autobiography. It was written by himself. And again, an immense amount of controversy has been surrounding the film. People saying that, you know, it's just a propaganda film to make the U.S. look good in any situation or whatever. People are saying that Chris Kyle is not a hero; he's a murderer. Go look at the first off, before I get any further, do not read about this story before you watch the movie. If you've never heard of this man before, I've never heard of him. Most of you who are probably in your 20s, 30s, who follow up on news, you've probably heard of this guy before. But if you're younger than that, then you probably didn't hear about him, because I didn't going into the film. And I'm so glad I didn't, because the ending just was an utter shock to me. So I'm glad I didn't know what happened going into it. So if you don't know, don't read up about it. But if you get a chance to, after you watch the movie, watch several interviews with the real Chris Kyle And look at the comments on YouTube, how foul they are. How many people are just trashing this guy and saying that he's not a hero, he's a murderer, he's a cold-blooded murderer. He loves putting his finger on the trigger. I mean, with what this guy has gone through, people are going to disrespect him like that. It sickens me, the YouTube comments, guys. I was looking at it last night. The Oscar nominations were announced today. I'm filming this review the day they were announced. I would watch the movie last night, and then after I watched it, I'm looking at the YouTube comments. They just sicken me, guys. They really do. So please don't bash this man. Respect him, which is what this film does. And the one thing that I loved about American Sniper, not only is it just an absolutely compelling, tension-riddled, brutal look at the war and the story that it's telling in general, but the one thing that really stands out with American Sniper, for me anyway, is the central core story that it's trying to say about how a soldier will react to war after they've gone through it. It's basically a look at how a soldier, or how, you know, anybody, a SEAL, anyone who has fought in a war, how they will deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, how they react to things when they get back home, when they get back, you know, stateside, and how they're going to deal with things regarding their family. It is a great look at that and how deadly and cost-affecting the war can be. Even if you don't lose your life, you just may lose your sanity in the person you become. And in my opinion, American Sniper really shines because of that very reason. And that's why I ended up liking the film as much as I did. Yes, this is a very brutal and graphic movie to watch. There is bloodshed. There is a lot of that going on. But this is a war film. And although it is nowhere near as bloody as last year's Lone Survivor, in comparison, I don't know which film is better. I was trying to think of that before the review. Both films are really solid on their own rights, if you ask me. But the thing that, again, that I like about American Sniper, that I really haven't seen in a war film, and granted, maybe I just haven't seen too many war films, but most war films take place during the war, and then maybe slightly after the war, you have a final scene of the soldier coming home, or blah, blah, blah. But very rarely is the central conflict in the movie concerning post-traumatic stress disorder, and that is really what's going on in American Sniper. Yes, Bradley Cooper's going overseas. Yes, he has to deal with the Iraqi soldiers he has to fight overseas, and yes, he's killing all of these men and killing all of these people that are against him and his squad. But the film isn't really about that. It's about the effects of the war and how it affects you as a person. And that is why I really liked American Sniper. I haven't seen it in a war film in a while. You know, The Hurt Locker had its own story. Black Hawk Down had its own story. Saving Private Ryan, you can say, oh, maybe there were similarities in that the war definitely showed that it was taking a toll on the members, namely Tom Hanks and Saving Private Ryan. I love you, Saving Private Ryan. I'm not here to talk about Saving Private Ryan, though. I'm here to talk about American Sniper. But that is, guys, how I feel about American Sniper, and that's what honestly really shined for me. And I don't think this should be getting as much controversy as it is. Why do things have to be so controversial in life, guys? I don't know. But anyway, getting into the performances really quickly. Bradley Cooper did get nominated for Best Actor, so I definitely have to talk about his role. He was without a doubt phenomenal, guys. Definitely one of his career best. I'm not saying it's his career best, because in my opinion, Bradley Cooper, honestly, was just outstanding in Silver Linings Playbook. Those are his two best performances for me. Honestly, after having seen this, they're like right near each other, because this was probably his best transformation of a character from himself to another character. Silver Linings Playbook, it was just Bradley Cooper bipolar. But he was excellent bipolar, and I feel had Daniel Day-Lewis not won the Oscar that year, should have gone to Bradley Cooper, but that's another story for another day. But yes, it's not his career best in my opinion. It's this or Silver Linings Playbook. But he's been on such a hot streak. He's come a long way from The Hangover, which was a good movie on its own right. But in my opinion, he's just come so far in his career. He's taken so many serious roles, and he just really brings out his best acting chops in his roles. And he continues that with American Sniper. I think playing a Chris Kyle who had a very strong Southern accent, I think he nailed the accent perfectly. And more importantly, I think he nailed the side of his character that had to deal with the effects of war and had to show us, the audience, that yes, he had gone to this war, yes, he had killed all these men, but he was even self-aware that yes, I'm going to have to deal with the repercussions of this one day. I'm going to have to answer for God when I go to see him one day, whenever that will be, for all the men I've killed. He said, oh, I'm going to answer for every shot I've taken. He says that in the film. And the fact that Cooper nails the role, that this man is just so mentally affected by the war. You could see it by the blank expressions on his face. The final few scenes of this movie, Bradley Cooper just shines, in my opinion. Some of his best acting to date, without a doubt. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not he deserved the Oscar nomination. I do think there are one or two actors who could have taken his place. He's not one of the 5 best performances of the year, but he is still absolutely phenomenal. I'm not taking away from him in this movie. He is excellent. And I think the same could be said, she's not on his level, but she's very good in the movie. Same could be said for Sienna Miller, who plays his wife. And again, she's playing the wife who's scared for him. She's scared for her husband, and that's obviously understandable. That's how it is nowadays when a soldier has to go off to war and they have to leave behind their family and their wives in specific. I think she did a great job in the film. There were a few moments she definitely had to shine. One scene in particular, and I know this is a major convenience in the movie, I'm going to address this later on. She's on the phone with Bradley Cooper, and he's overseas, and that's all I'm going to really say. I thought she was really powerful in that scene, and honestly, hit me in the right places in that scene, emotionally. And she shined in a few other scenes. Even though that scene was slightly convenient for me, I still think it worked, and she worked in the movie very well, Sienna Miller. Getting into my overall rating for American Sniper, I don't think this film deserves some hate that it's getting. It's a very solid war film. It's not like it's one of my favorites. Or it's one of the better ones I've seen in a while. I can definitely give that to the movie. It is excellently directed by Mr. Clint Eastwood. I'm not going to say whether or not he deserved a Best Director nomination, but he definitely did an excellent job with the film. It is amazingly acted by Bradley Cooper. It's a absolutely brutal, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching film to watch. It is extremely gritty and definitely authentic in regards to the war-related scenes of violence. And for that reason, and amongst other reasons I'm going to get into, I'm going to give American Sniper a solid grade of a 9 out of 10 or an A-. I think this is a very strong movie. I think it's a very strong emotional film. I think the action sequences or the gunfight sequences really worked. They were really suspenseful. I shouldn't call them action sequences because they're really not. They're honestly straight up war violence sequences that are gunfight scenes, honestly. And they're absolutely gritty and very well filmed. But getting into the things that I loved so much about American Sniper, again, Bradley Cooper just absolutely shines for me in this movie. Just delivers a heartbreaking performance. Really shined in the third act. He really just blew me away in the final few scenes of the movie. He was great. The whole cast was really good. Even the supporting soldiers were good. I'll get into them as well. Clint Eastwood does a very good job directing this movie. His last war film, I think, was Flags of Our Fathers. He did Letters of Iwo Jima, but I didn't see that. But his last one, I think, was Flags of Our Fathers. And this is definitely the better of the two by far. I didn't care for Flags of Our Fathers that much. It was okay. I honestly don't even remember that movie, but he did a great job with the movie. A lot of the battlefield sequences, some of them, not a lot of them, but some of them are handheld when they're not stationary. And when they're not stationary, the handheld shots were very well done. There wasn't a lot of shaky cam, not like there needed to be, but that's one thing that really worked for me in the film. I thought the film editing was really, really solid. It was fast-paced. Again, the battle sequences in Iraq really were just heart-pumping, and they just really get your blood going, and that's due to really solid editing. You could also, the gunfight, you could easily tell who was firing at who, unlike Taken 2. Excuse me. I thought the score was great. The production design was really solid. The locations where they shot the movie, especially the Iraq sequences. And overall, what I'm really going to praise is the script, because it took a story that a lot of people find very controversial, and in my opinion, it not only paid respect to this man, Chris Kyle, but it also just showed a side of the war that we really haven't seen or haven't gotten used to seeing in a while, and that is the side of dealing with the side effects of the war through post-traumatic stress disorder and dealing with, you know, the things you've done. You know, it's about a man who has to relive the horrors he had to face in order to protect his own country. And in my opinion, that's why American Sniper really, really worked for me. Screw all the controversy, screw all the people that are bashing this guy, calling him a murderer. He did what he had to do. He saved a lot of lives. I think the film did a great job portraying that, in my opinion. And I know I can say this for a lot of 2014 movies, but the final shot of this movie, the final scene in general, literally made me gasp, and it took my breath away for about a few seconds. When it fades to black and then some text pops up on the screen. I'm not going to say what happens. Do not read up about the story before you see the movie. But when that happened, it kind of took my breath away, guys. I'm not going to lie. And for that reason alone, I mean, the movie just really was good. It really was. For that reason, 9 out of 10. Few cons with the film. I think a few secondary characters, namely Chris Kyle's brother, were just sort of there, and they didn't really do anything for me. A few of the troop members I never really latched on them. I was really with this character, Chris Kyle, the whole time. And I think there were a few conveniences here or there, namely the scene where Bradley Cooper's on the phone with his wife while he's overseas. Not going to get into that, although that's one of the best scenes of the movie, in my opinion. Absolutely pulse-pounding and definitely extremely intense. It just... A part of it was a slightly little too convenient, which took me out of the movie. Other than that, I definitely recommend you check out American Sniper. It's a really unbelievable story of what this guy went through, what he did for us, what he did for his troops, and what he did for his family. And that is why I recommend you check out the film. 9 out of 10, A-. Yeah, definitely check it out this weekend. It opens wide this weekend. Guys, if you've seen American Sniper, let me know what you thought about it. Do you feel it deserves all the Oscar nominations that you got? What are your thoughts on the movie? Let me know down below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.